Modern nationality law starts in 1981, and for all its shortcomings, it was an attempt to bring into the system, through formal paperwork, those that were British. Let me repeat, those that were by right British. The state was formalising a right that already existed, something expressly stated by the then Home Secretary William Whitelaw during the passage of the bill. However, what followed, with subsequent changes to nationality law and an increasingly hostile approach by successive governments of all colours, was the appalling circumstances in which the Windrush generation and others, people who by right were British, were treated like outsiders, foreigners and aliens. Our hostility to immigration and immigrants was the climate in which we abandoned our own, who were by right British, even if they hadn't formally exercised that right. I lay out this background because this notion of citizenship being a privilege seems to be a popular but sadly ignorant mantra. Of course, immigration is not a right, but immigration and immigration controls are very distinct to nationality rights, and those that mix them do so because their flawed understanding does not see beyond the colour of someone's skin. Let me personalise it. My family, as many of yours, was a century ago citizens of the UK and colonies. They had rights. All those in the Empire and the Commonwealth did. When my grandfathers fought for the British Indian Army as British subjects, they did so as citizens. When the Windrush generation answered the call for workers and came to this country, they did so as citizens. When South Asians took up gruelling jobs in the mills and foundries of Yorkshire, as my family did, they did so as citizens, as equal members of this country, a continuation of a bond that started decades earlier. It wasn't a conditional right or a temporary right or a right that we would try and take away from them and their children or their grandchildren in ever more cunningly creative ways, and it certainly wasn't a privilege. It was a right, one established through our colonial history, strife and blood and sweat, and even with those that gave life. By formally taking a British passport, they were merely formalising a right, not being bestowed a privilege.